everyone, it's Marie from Pear Tree Paper Crafts. Today I'm going to be scrapping this family picture of me and my husband and my baby Elliot when he was very tiny. This is our first Christmas. And I'm using a cut file from Paige Taylor Evans, the heart with the flowers on, which I think is beautiful, which I've pre-cut out on my Cricut. What you've just seen happen there is I've chosen my cardstock and I've used the cut file. I've drawn around it. I have kind of made a mask and then sprayed Tim Holtz white spray stain on the rest of the page so that only the heart remains the colour it was to start with, and it kind of gives that outline effect. What I'm doing now is just backing the cut file onto vellum tracing paper, of that almost partly see-through paper, just putting a tiny bit of glue on most of the edges with my fine liner glue, and then I'm going to sit that off to one side in a second just to dry off, so that it doesn't then pop off hopefully while I am cutting it out. And then put that on there like so, and just leave that to dry. And then whilst that's drying, I'm going to just choose some matting papers. I and ah quite a bit about which colours to use, and then eventually decide on a couple of different papers. I kind of wish with this range I bought the 6x8 pad as well for using for matting, so I didn't have to cut up my big sheets because I love the big sheets. But this is the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Midnight range. So I bought the Midnight range and the ephemera and cardstock titles, things like that. It has to be one of my favourite ever paper ranges. I am pretty sure I'm going to go with that combination. I keep changing my mind. I have taken to doing quite thin borders around photographs. I've gone off big thick borders that I used to do when I first started scrapbooking, very much smaller ones that I do now. I just think it's, I don't know, I love having cut files on pages, but equally I don't want them to take away from the focus, and my focus of my layouts is always my photograph. I am a bit cheeky on this one though, because I cut out the cut file and then I hide part of the photograph underneath the cut file, and there is a very specific reason for this. I don't like my husband's green jumper. Elliot was about 3 months oldish, no less than that in this photograph, and we had been in and out of hospital with him since he was a baby, and I think we were just so happy to be a family. We had waited so long for him that other things seemed to disappear, and yeah, I absolutely hated that green t-shirt. So if I'd have realised he was wearing it in one of the nicest family photographs that we have together, I think I might have made him change. But hey ho, I can hide it with that lovely flower. So here I am just choosing some of the ephemera out of the packs. I've put that bunting on there that doesn't stay there. I ummed and ahed with this layout quite a bit because it's actually, with it being a Christmas photograph, I didn't know whether to do it on Christmas paper, but I fell in love with this cut file. I love the dark blue paper, and I was able to piece together lovely bits of the blue ephemera to make this layout work just so well. And it's probably recently one of the quickest layouts I've done, other than the drying time that was needed for the spray stain that I did. And I will admit to having a little bit of difficulty trying to get that sheet flat again once I've sprayed stain all over it. But I'm so happy with the result in the end. So I think I'm happy with those things. I've chosen some leaves. I've chosen a couple of the frames to pop behind the photograph and a few of the hearts, the darker blue ones. I tend to now stick my ephemera things to my photographs and then sit the whole thing down onto the layout. It makes sure that I get everything in the right place. I'm popping a tag behind there as well. Bit of adhesive foam to lift up the photograph and keep everything at the right levels. And then stick the heart down. I did think about dimensionalising the heart and putting that on some foam, but decided actually by tucking the photographs in, that kind of gave a bit of dimension and it lifts up the flowers without having to lift up the heart, because it is quite thin around the back, and I didn't want the foam to be seen. That can be difficult sometimes when the edges are thin or you need to hold it up properly. And then I just pop in a few of those leaves around the edge as well, and that jar of hearts along the edge there, and then popping in some of those flowers. I'm not quite sure if they go back in exactly the same place that I had them before, but I like where they end up. Just adds to the dimension of those. Oh, there's my head, sorry. I think I was checking I'd got my little sentiment down there in the right place. I wanted to put a butterfly on. I don't know if I do in the end or whether I take him back off again. And I think I put those two butterflies on there. And then I used some Nuvo drops, the crystal drops, just to add some more white flourishes to it, and they do look like enamel dots. I did think about putting some glitter on there and then changed my mind, and because I think at this point there's enough on there. And that's my layout. Thank you so much for watching. Happy scrapping!